The design philosophy behind the Smash Ultimate DLC has been to create characters with new mechanics and ideas to help diversify a quaintly homogenized roster.
From more than 70 fighters, only 5 have been added. And since the roster was already so large to begin with, right from the start, we intended to make the most out of the new gameplay mechanics and so on. When we add a new fighter, we don't simply make their attacks or their movements a little different. Instead, we try to offer you a whole new style of play.
And he's not wrong. Joker has Arsene, Hero has spells, Banjo has Wonder Wing, Terry has Go, Violet has multi-weapon attacks, and Min Min's arms are honestly the most creative addition to the Smash roster yet. This has me incredibly excited to see what the remaining DLC bring to the table, but this approach to giving each DLC their own uniquities creates a disparity between the newcomers and the OGs. And this is not unique to Smash. Every fighting game goes through this phase, and unless your name is Guilty Gear or Killer Instinct, most fighting game DLCs are created after establishing a meta or a certain way of things to challenge the traditions set by that base roster. They are there to break shit. The intention of this is to gradually give the roster as well as the game new flavors to preserve its lifetime to its hardcore community while expanding the fan base simultaneously. This is a different case regarding Smash Ultimate, however, because they actively went back and changed moves for some characters. Nothing drastic by any means, but enough to make them feel different. For example, Snake has a new down smash, Palutena has a new side B, Shulk can menu select his Monados now, and Ganondorf finally learned how to use his goddamn sword. But there were 2 characters that didn't get much change, which definitely disappointed me considering these 2 characters just got new entries in their series, being Mario and Link. Mario not having Cappy in his moveset was upsetting because I love Super Mario Odyssey. Mario could use Cappy in place of his feather cape, keeping the reflective property while giving Cappy more utility, like holding him in place for jumps and recovery, or maybe using him as a boomerang that you could manually control for some cool setups, which wouldn't have been seen as tarnishing Mario's traditional moveset because they moved his Cyclone down B from melee to down air and gave him Flood and Brawl, because Super Mario Sunshine came out, so I don't see why they couldn't have done the same thing with Cappy. But what they did to Link was far worse because there are 3 unique Links, all who represent different eras of a legendary franchise, only for them to fight almost the exact same. Same specials, same attacks, barring Toon Link's aerials. There really isn't anything to separate and individualize them aside from their frame data and menial attributes, which is made worse because they aren't classified as Echo Fighters. They're not supposed to be clones of each other by the game's own logic. If you want a great example of how you make multiple variants of one character unique and engaging, look no further than Goku in Dragon Ball FighterZ. There are 6 bona fide Gokus in this game, although there is Goku DNA littered everywhere on the character select screen. But make no mistake, each one is basically their own character. All of them have different specials, different combo routes, different auto combos, different assists, different properties, different synergies, and different supers. Although it has been memed to all hell, having that many Gokus isn't a slight towards the creativity and effort put towards making each one their own beast. It's just incredibly funny to see Android 16 lose his mind. That and people want other Dragon Ball characters.
Give me Majin Vegeta.
I can't say the same appreciation and thought was put there for Link because Sakurai and company didn't fully realize what makes each of them special, which I'm going to do with this video. First off, we got Young Link is based off of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Masks, and for his design I would have loved to see the implementation of transformation masks, which could function like Shulk's Monados, where you pick a mask and it has a set amount of use and cooldown. I know in Majora's Mask that there is no set limit to how much you can use each mask, but in a game like Smash, most characters with a meter or augment mechanics are built around cooldowns. To make space for this, I would map Arrow to backwards B, similar to Terry having Crack Shoot, so you can pick masks by just holding down B and selecting it with the control stick. Deku Mask can primarily be used for recovery, being able to launch off of a flower like Banjo does, but go higher and is able to glide back down. He would also gain a wicked spin attack and poison bubble similar to Aha, where it does damage over time. Fear's deity would be Arsene-like, boosting his kill power. Giant Mask probably wouldn't be feasible in combat, so you could use it as a final smash perhaps. Zora Mask makes him more elusive, gives him faster hand-to-hand combat, and 2 boomerangs instead of 1. on stages with water, he could also just swim faster. Goron Mask makes young Link into a heavyweight powerhouse who rolls around the stage with intensity, but has no recovery moves if he gets knocked off stage. The transformation mask system would have been an amazing addition to young Link's current moveset to make him more of a wild card rather than being incredibly annoying. Next up we got Toon Link is based off of Wind Waker and Phantom Hourglass. Now, admittedly, I think they nailed his aesthetic in the game from bomb effects to animation embellishment, because compared to Majora's Mask and Breath of the Wild, there isn't much in terms of specialties that Toon Link has that hasn't already been manifested in the form of items. But there are a couple of things they could have added to his kit to better represent his games. Grounded Up B could have a hurricane spin effect if he charges it for long enough, where he just moves around the entire stage in an absolute frenzy. And Skull Hammer could have been like Levin Sword, where depending on if you are doing a tilt, you use his sword, which is quicker, or if you do a smash attack input, you pull out his Skull Hammer, which is slower, but way more powerful. These small changes could do a whole lot to make Toon Link more exciting to watch, as well as just more interesting. Last, but certainly not least, we have Champion Link is based off of Breath of the Wild, and in my opinion is by far the biggest waste of potential in all of Smash. They attempted to hybridize him with his traditional moveset, and while I appreciate giving him Bomb, it feels like they wasted an absolute goldmine of source material to incorporate into his moveset. It is crazy how many things Link can do combat-wise in Breath of the Wild, and it sucks that he wasn't given anything outside of Bomb. His staple glider is merely an intro. You could have easily mapped that to whether or not Link holds the jump button, similar to 2B gliding off of Pod. His down air could have been a blade slam that had a ground hitbox that knocked opponents into the air, or even have a wind box of some sort. His grab could have been magnesis and could grab items from medium distances, or just snatch them when they're thrown at him. You could switch between what kind of arrows you want depending on which direction you flick the stick, since Link is stationary anyway. Holding up could be Fire Arrow, which would act similar to Young Link's for combos. Holding down would be Ice Arrows, which freezes grounded opponents or freezes projectiles and treats them like throwable items that you could pick up. Holding forward could be Bomb Arrows that do a lot of damage and have good knockback. And holding backwards could be a Shock Arrow similar to ZSS and Corrin's stun projectiles that lead to combo opportunities and killer follow-ups. You only have a set amount of arrows for each stock, so use them wisely. Link could have had all of his champion abilities without having to sacrifice any of his specials. Rivali's Gale could have been activated by holding down no matter where you are, similar to how Terry can charge a Rising Tackle. This would have given Link an insane amount of verticality, his glider more utility, and given all players a flybox to use against Link as well. Urbosa's Fury could have been triggered by holding up B for a set amount of time, or just holding any attack button in general. Daruk's Protection could be his normal shield since there is no chip damage in Smash, or maybe just double tap shield to trigger it to block one attack that could kill you. Mipha's Grace would not work in a stock match, but would be perfect for stamina mode. All of these abilities could have massive cooldowns if you're looking for balance, so picking and using them would be more strategic and creative based off of various situations, or just combining them all into some wicked sequences. Flurry Rush could have worked similar to Witch Time, where if Link perfectly dodges a physical attack backwards, he suddenly rushes and does a boatload of damage. He also could have had a Shield Reflect ability where if he hit an attack button while shielding at the right time, he can reflect projectiles like he does here. I understand that Smash isn't exactly a deeply intuitive fighting game with one sole attack button and one sole special button, so putting everything in would have been a nightmare to map out, and I don't envy their position when it comes to designing characters with extensive movesets on such a simple structure, but come on, you could have done way more for Champion Link. He could have been so utterly dynamic and creative, and to see that level of depth from Breath of the Wild not even attempted to be interpreted was a huge wasted opportunity. I love Smash to death, and this is not me trying to rail on the game because I hate it, but because it could be so much more character-wise, especially for one of the most popular mascots in gaming. But like I said, I am excited for the remaining DLC and how they are designed as well. What do you think about the Links in Smash? Are they fine? Did you want more from them? And what other characters would you want changed or augmented? Leave your thoughts down below, and thank you for watching.